Space, the final frontier. It is a vast and mysterious expanse that has fascinated us for centuries. But as much as we have learned about it, there are still many things they have lied to us about. Let us take a look at some of the biggest lies told to us about space. First, we all have the perception that space is just this pristine, untouched place. But this is not entirely true. We have been scattering debris in space for decades, from old satellites to rocket parts. In fact, there are over 20,000 pieces of debris orbiting Earth right now, and they cause all kinds of problems for future space missions. So if you plan to visit space anytime soon, watch where you go. You never know what kind of debris might be floating around you. Did you know that the sun is not actually yellow? It is green in color. Well, sort of. You see, scientists measure the temperature of stars by the spectrum of colors they emit. Colder stars appear red, while hotter stars appear blue. Our sun emits most of its energy in wavelengths close to green. But because it also emits other wavelengths, all these colors blend together, and your eyes see this vibrant mix as white. From Earth, however, the sun appears yellow, because our atmosphere scatters blue light very effectively. If our star were truly yellow, Earth would turn into a frozen rock, and we would all become polar bears. Additionally, the sun is not really on fire. It is a massive ball of gas made up mostly of hydrogen and helium. It acts as a giant nuclear reactor, constantly fusing hydrogen atoms to form helium in its core. This process releases enormous amounts of energy, which is why the sun is so hot. Speaking of things catching fire, explosions in space are not real. Apologies to Star Wars fans. A spaceship cannot explode because there is no air in space. No air means no oxygen, and no oxygen means no fire. Now, you might also think there are too many stars in the night sky to count, but in reality, you can't. According to the Yale Bright Star Catalog, there are 9,110 stars visible from Earth with the naked eye. So theoretically, you can count them, but I wouldn't be surprised if you lose track. And if you're worried about flying through the asteroid belt, don't be. While it contains trillions of space rocks ranging in size from space dust to moon-sized, they are very far apart. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter spans 225 million kilometers, which is about 1.5 times the distance between Earth and the Sun. This spreads the space rocks thousands of miles apart, making it nearly impossible for a spacecraft to collide with them. You will freeze instantly in space if you are without a spacesuit. No, you won't turn into ice cream immediately. It will take a bit longer than that because heat and cold do not transfer quickly in the vacuum of space. But unfortunately for you, there's a bigger problem. You won't be able to breathe. After just 15 seconds, your brain won't get enough oxygen from your blood, and you will lose consciousness. And then, after just 2 minutes, it will be the end for the rest of your body. So in short, if you find yourself playing astronaut without a spacesuit, the game will be over very quickly. Did you know that space has no temperature at all? This is because temperature is determined by how fast molecules are moving and how much energy they have. In the true vacuum of space, there are no molecules to move, making it essentially devoid of temperature. Of course, some parts of space are really hot, like the areas surrounding stars. But the farther you move from stars, the more the particles spread out, making those areas of space extremely cold. Point number 9 is the shape of our planet. No, it is not flat. But it's not perfectly spherical either. Yes, it bulges at the equator because of our planet's rapid rotation. It's as if the Earth is doing a little dance of its own. Because of this bulge, launching spacecraft from the equator is much easier than launching them from the poles. Now, when it comes to sound in space, it's a bit tricky. You might think no one can hear you scream, but that's not entirely accurate. The truth is, sound needs something to travel through, like air or water. In space, things are spaced so far apart that all those epic space battles and galactic explosions would be completely silent. However, there are some places in space that have enough particles for sound to travel. For instance, you can hear the sound of the black hole located at the center of the Perseus galaxy cluster. There's another myth about zero gravity that doesn't actually make sense. There is still some gravity around the International Space Station, about 90% of the gravity we feel on Earth. But astronauts can float because they are essentially in free fall around the planet. Let's be realistic. Hollywood's version of space travel is not real. Orbits certainly exist, but different altitudes mean different speeds, so moving from one orbit to another isn't just a walk in the park. You can't simply push yourself in the right direction and hope for a good result. You have to take those orbital speeds into account. This reminds me of the 2013 movie Gravity and how Sandra Bullock tried to survive in space. Hollywood certainly has a role in these myths, but who can blame them? In 1906, NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft took a photo of a strange rock formation on Mars. It looked like an eerie human face. Some people claimed it must be evidence of extraterrestrial life on the red planet. But NASA had a different opinion. According to the space agency, the face was nothing more than a cluster of rocks piled in a way that the shadows they cast created the illusion of facial features. It turned out to be just an ordinary hill that attracted attention due to its unusual shape. The solar system is fixed in place. That's a big lie. It moves through space at 225 kilometers per second, meaning it travels through the universe faster than a cheetah chasing its prey. The solar system takes 230 million years to complete one orbit around the Milky Way. It's a good thing we don't get speeding tickets, as that would be an astronomical fine, literally. Without the sun, planets would be extremely cold. We're talking about temperatures as low as 270 degrees Celsius. But with the sun, planets enjoy much more habitable temperatures. Naturally, the composition of planets isn't equal. Mercury, for instance, is the closest to the sun. Venus, on the other hand, is farther away but somehow manages to be hotter than Mercury. The distance from the sun isn't the only factor affecting a planet's temperature. Other factors, like the size of the planet and its reflectivity, also play a role. So, assuming Mercury is the hottest planet in our solar system is incorrect. Just because it's the closest to the sun doesn't mean it's the hottest. Despite being misled in some ways, this doesn't diminish the magnificence of space. It is still a vast, beautiful, and absolutely fascinating part of the universe, with much yet to be discovered. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll actually discover little green-skinned companions out there. Or perhaps we'll find something even more extraordinary. Until then, we just have to keep dreaming and exploring. We've covered 14 lies in our list. Do you have any space myths you'd like to debunk? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can reach 1,000 subscribers as quickly as possible.